Thank you for your detailed presentation. It was a job well done. And as a fellow Christian, your topic was very attention-grabbing.
Yes, we could see that you worked very hard. Commentators, could you have your opinion?
Ever since religion existed in human society, mankind has had an unconditional faith upon the words of God. Religion was cherished and obeyed as the primary composition of life, and it was never possible to cast a doubt on any rule or notion that was declared under the name of God. The attempt to evaluate its rightfulness was considered to be a diabolic sin for a very long time, and only after the emergence of the Renaissance has mankind been able to dream of a life not devoted to religious faith. Now, the absence of an absolute authority provokes a conflict of colliding opinions, and this eventually results in a ferocious debate. The weakening of the binding that religious obligations possessed in the past meant the absence of such an absolute authority. Consequently, an invisible tussle between the still existing religious duties and the values besides religion has taken place. In accordance with such context, this research paper has dealt with homosexuality and ancestral rights, appropriately analyzing the Christianomical views on these issues. By exploring such topics, this research paper has also efficiently illustrated the controversial issues on religious morality. Not only that, but the paper has apologies. Not only that, but the paper has also deeply studied the biblical references, therefore helping the understanding of the listeners on the background of religion morality. Now, however, leaving the commendable factors aside, the completeness and the quality of the research paper itself possess some aspects that require improvements. I wish that the given comments will not be accepted as an emotional offense, and that it will be accepted as a constructive criticism. Okay. Now, the first defect perceived at the very first sight is the absence of a distinct direction of the paper. In certain cases, it is possible that a research paper aims only to analyze or deliver knowledge. However, if that were the case, then this paper should have suggested its main purpose in the introduction in a clear way. Nowhere could such clarification be found in the whole paper, and as a result, the paper has also failed to prove the value of its study. I believe that the justification of the paper's value cannot be achieved unless a specific goal of the paper is given. Secondly, the paper lacks supportive evidence in the process of obtaining a conclusion. In general, it is commonly agreed that the final conclusion should be based on the research findings that have been obtained throughout the whole process of writing a research paper. Unfortunately, it is doubtful whether the 10 pages of research findings that have been expended for literature review, it is doubtful whether they have been useful or whether they have been used at all in obtaining a conclusion. Here's an example, a statement. What is important is not the blind faith of the written record, but the belief that God, the Creator, exists. This is given in the conclusion. From this statement, the author concludes that it is normal for a religious man to be confused between the clash of religion and customs. This statement, however, seems to be a personal thought. If this statement plays such a significant role in obtaining the conclusion, then it should have been some religious dogma or at least a quote of an influential leader from the religious world. That would have given a much higher degree of credit when compared to a personal belief. Now lastly, the paper has not suggested a definition of the key term religion morality. There are many versions of interpretations and meanings regarding the term morality, and many more when it comes to religion morality. The authors have not included a definition, and this prevents the readers from getting a clear understanding on the discussed issues. The judgments and statements that the papers make will be much more precisely justified if a clear definition is adopted by the authors. Now, although I have focused heavily on some of the requirements that are necessary for improvement, the paper's meaning remains firm. I believe that the authors have still brilliantly demonstrated the problems of religious morality by framing it with two specific cases, homosexuality and ancestral rights, and have logically elaborated on the chosen issues in depth. The two cases are also significant examples for the Western culture and the Eastern culture respectively, and uncover the interesting difference of how Christianity causes contradiction within society. Considering such facts, the paper has conducted an advanced level of study and has successfully shown academic passion and rigor. With this, I would like to close my commentary. It was a truly precious experience to participate in this conference as a commentator, and thank you sincerely for your undivided attention. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation for speakers, and thank you for the former commentators. This is the Incheon from Incheon Foreign Language High School, and I'm so honored to speak in here with standing here. And thank you. And through the paper, the author is expecting to give the full understanding of the Christianity, moral circumstances, and problems to set enough standards for religion morality decision, using the representative examples such as homosexuality and ritual ceremony for ancestors with specific biblical expressions. Despite the paper explains in detail, this paper could be much more promoted with the manifold complements through following recommendations. Most of all, this paper should have provided more unequivocal and detailed title for the readers. The title's role in the thesis is to attract the readers to read their thesis, so the effective title is the brief summary of it. Thus, I would recommend the title should be set as such as deep analysis of the conflict between the social beliefs and the Christianity, rather than just the religion morality. Since the paper explains about the Christianity, homosexuality, and ritual ceremony for ancestors, in this way, it will be much more competent to deliver messages to the readers. Likewise, through reading the paper, I found that this thesis only contains abounding research findings. The thesis is defined as a paper which demonstrates the opinion, thought, and insistence logically. So the paper could have been much better if authors had demonstrated their researches and following conclusions with using several surveys or interviews. In consideration of only including the facts, the author's intention and further requests are not clear to figure out. Next is that the paper is not logically related. To support the idea, for example, I found in the second sentence of the introduction, it says social belief or cultures and religion. However, in the last page, at limitations and the further suggestion, it mentions as customs and the Christian beliefs. The customs are not the social beliefs at all. Neither the homosexuality is the customs. Custom is the activity, a way of behaving, or an event, which is a traditional way or in a particular society. So the introduction and the conclusion were not quite associated with each other. The author could have a better paper if they had checked their paper more elaborately with connection and the definition. Above all, if the authors considers all the recommendations I mentioned above, the paper will be more completed and enhanced more in each part of the title, main point, organization, content, and the conclusion, having right format and contents to convince readers better, and have becoming more close to the thesis rather than the report. I was so honored to have the chance to look at through the paper as well as have analysis of it. More than that, although I don't believe in any religion, including Christianity, I was so concerned about the conflicts going on. And furthermore, the paper absolutely helped me to inform the knowledge related to the religion and its stances. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who has a question about this paper?
Well, I enjoyed your speech, and I've heard at the last conclusion part that you said about changing of churches and everything, the religions and stuff. And well, to me, I thought the religion itself is some kind of a group, and for a group, there are certain rules that they have to follow. And to join the group itself means that I will be dedicating my life, and I will be following what you guys are telling me to do. And to change that means there's no meaning of religion, because if a religion changes every time the generation passes and new kinds of set of things, thoughts and stuff and customs happen, then there really is no need of a religion itself, because it keeps on changing. There's no meaning of Christianity itself, because the name can change too. So I've been thinking about that, and I wonder how you guys think about this. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your question. And about the conclusion part. I said that religions cannot be separated from societies. So it means when a person decides to be included in a group of religion, he or she cannot just get out of the society and go into the religious group. He or she, even if he or she becomes a religious person, they are still included in the society. They're still a citizen, right? So what I want to say about the change part is that they should not just blindly follow the rules of the religion, and they have to modify rules slightly to fit in the society's values.
I heard that there are little bit differences, even they all believes one God. For example, Roman Catholic and Protestants, they understand the Bible in each other ways. So I wonder the exact range of Christianity in this presentation.
We researched before writing this paper, and we all included Protestantism and Roman Catholicism in the range of Christianity. And for the Bible thing, we use pre-testaments instead of the Old Testaments for our paper. Did it answer your question?
I want to ask you a question. If you use the Christians meaning by all Roman Catholic and Protestants, I learned that when the first Christian come to the Japan, it allowed to respect the ancestors because they respect the Japan culture because it was the Roman Catholic. But our in Korea, the Protestant come to our country and then to respect our ancestors. So if you are including all the Christians, you have to change that part, I think.
Well, actually, I know about the exception part, but it's not so related to our research. But Japan is a special case. Like this Shintoism, their traditional religion is kind of combined with Christianity and other religions like Buddhism, and so Japan is an exception, and maybe we could include the exception in our research. That's just a helpful advice. Thank you.
To further answer you for your question, in the introduction, if you look at our paper in the introduction, as we researched, the Christianity in Korea hasn't yet accepted ancestral rights as a right thing, and so, yeah, thank you.